guys, welcome back to my channel. As I promised you guys, this is gonna be the cooking video on how I make my fried chicken, white rice, and beans. Okay guys, so I will begin by rinsing each piece of chicken. As I do, I will be cutting some slits on only the drumsticks. That allows more of the seasoning to get inside the drumsticks. I proceed to cut off the end of the chicken wings because, being honest, I don't like it very much. But if you like them, you can leave them in. It's all up to you. With the thigh, I cut off the skin because it's just too much for my liking. Now, with the chicken breast that I had was really thick, so I cut off some of the fat and then I proceed to cut them in two. And then after that, I continue to do the rest of the chicken in the same manner. Now I'm adding some vinegar to the bowl. This is something that my mom taught me a long time ago, and it gives it some flavor. You might be surprised. It tastes really good with the seasoning afterwards. I'll mix it all together and remove the excess vinegar. After I do that, I will proceed on seasoning the chicken. Some onion powder, and remember, it's to your liking. You can add more or less, it's up to you. Some garlic powder, some black pepper, and guys, I normally also add some cumin, but I had ran out. Some adobo, some sazon, and some complete seasoning. Now I'm gonna mix it all in together. And once I mix it thoroughly, then I proceed to take each piece of chicken and pat in the seasoning. I like to make sure that every piece of chicken is seasoned properly. Once all that is done, I set aside for about 30 minutes to marinate. You can also do this the night before, and it will taste even better. It looks so good. Now it's time for the beans. I already had about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I add 2 tablespoons of sofrito, which is cilantro, coriander, green peppers, red peppers, onion, and garlic. I put it in a blender and grate it all together. Place in some containers, put it in the freezer, and have it available for all our meals. I have this cooking on medium heat. Now I'm adding the whole can of tomato sauce. I do so because I do not like watery beans. I like my beans nice and thick. It coats the rice so well. Now I'm adding some ham flavoring. At this point, you can also add in chicken or vegetable, and it will taste yummy also. Some sazon for color. And I like to mix as I go. Some black pepper to taste. And remember, guys, this is your kitchen. You can add or take away anything you like. Some onion powder. And I mix as I go. Some garlic powder, very little, because garlic powder could be a little intense. Some adobo. It's about half of a teaspoon, or even maybe less than that. Some complete seasoning, a few sprinkles. And now I proceed to add the whole can of beans. These are pink beans. I took out as much of the liquid as possible. I really don't like it. And then mix. And now I'm gonna add a can and a half of water. The same can the beans came in. I will add a half of an onion. I have them ready for my beans at all times. At times I also add green peppers and onions in it. It gives it a real yummy taste. Some people can add small pieces of potatoes and even pumpkin, and it tastes magnificent. I also add in about a half of a teaspoon of sugar that cuts the acidity of the tomato sauce. Now I lower it to about a 4 and it'll just cook to the desired thickness. Here I'm taking about 4 cups of rice. I know it seems like a lot, but we like leftovers. Laugh out loud. I will rinse it about 2 or 3 times. because I like to remove as much of the starch as possible. I do not like sticky rice. That's my pet peeve. Now I'm putting some vegetable oil inside the pot, enough to coat the bottom of the pan, and I'm placing the rice inside. I have it on medium high heat. I like to mix it very well, coating as much of the grain as possible. Once I finish that process, I add in my water and I cover the rice, and I make sure that there's about a half of an inch above the rice. I'll mix it thoroughly and wait for it to boil. I'm mixing the beans, making sure that they don't stick to the bottom of the pot. And they're starting to get nice and thick. It looks so yummy. Now my rice is boiling. And as it boils, I mix it and I try to wait till some of the water evaporates before covering it. Again, that reduces a lot of the stickiness. Once that happens, I cover it. I lower my heat to about a 2 or 2.5 on my stove. And total cooking time is about 20 minutes, give or take. And halfway the cooking process, I go and check it, mix it, and make sure that it's not sticking. And again, that's just how I do it. This is when I'm checking it. You see how nice and loose and fluffy it is? And look at my beans. Nice and thick. Now I will flour each piece of chicken and take out that excess flour and start the frying process once all this is done. But unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the final picture of the fried chicken. So you will see my youngest taste testing the meal. And I'm so sorry that I didn't have the final product to show you, but you can see some of it as she gets ready to taste test for you guys. As I'm frying it, remember the thickest, darkest pieces take longer than the white meat. Total time between 10 to 20 minutes depending on the thickness of the chicken. I don't overcrowd the pan so that it cooks thoroughly and it ends up being nice and crunchy. My heat is in about a 7 on my stove. Well, guys, I hope you liked it, and you'll see my little one after this. And just like that, we made my fried chicken, white rice, and beans. And if I must say so myself, this tastes really good. But my taste tester has to come and taste it for you guys. I'll be right back in a second.
Hot. Delicious. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my mom's channel.